It all felt very sneaky and chasing people, hopping over fences, trying to tackle people. Imagine that working in loss prevention. It doesn't necessarily matter where you are right now. We can go from the most unexpected jobs, the most unexpected parts of our life and experiences to accomplishing things that we only dreamed of. For me, the story starts when I'm walking into an empty warehouse looking space. It's an empty retail store. And the store is so empty, it doesn't have shelving, it doesn't have clothes, it doesn't have any merchandise. I'm walking through this empty space and I'm being led into it as an impressionable young person in my 20s going to apply for a job. I'm in this space before it's even really been built out, before the furniture has been brought in and before the merchandise has been stocked on the shelves. And I'm being led through the space by a really interesting character that clearly had a lot of knowledge about their job and a lot of excitement about the type of work they were in. And I never worked in this environment before. I was looking for a full-time job, didn't have retail experience, didn't have, or maybe I had some. Yeah, I might have had some at that point, but I didn't have really full-time work experience. I'd done a lot of teaching, and that was kind of my main thing. I'd done a lot of dance teaching. I've done a lot of student work, but this was kind of my first experience of like an 8 or 9 to 5. And it was in this moment that I walked into the building for a job interview and looked around, and the person was an area loss prevention manager was the title of the job. And I can't remember their name, but I sat down and interviewed with, I think it was actually Ken. I sat down and I interviewed with Ken, the area loss prevention manager for this retail store, and was asked a bunch of questions about my observation skills and analyzing different situations and how I would respond to people and what I would be looking for and how I would relate to customers. And the role was in the field of loss prevention, but it was actually something called a store protection specialist. And you might have seen those people. I'm going to see if I can put a picture up, but you might have seen those people wearing the vests inside of the stores and standing at the door and basically just greeting people, which is what I did. Hi, welcome to whatever the store was. Hey, welcome to whatever the store was. And you're standing there as like an engaging figure to greet people and to welcome them into the store, but also as like a representative of security. So it's a really strange dynamic just to be there at the door and mainly just a greeter, but also have gone through all of these trainings. There were so many trainings for this job. And based on what we actually did in loss prevention compared to future loss prevention jobs I did, the training was actually pretty intense on like learning how to listen and observe and see what people are doing in the store and how they're walking through the space and what their body language is telling you about what their intentions are inside the store. So I learned so much from I eventually got this job. I learned so much from the position, but it was one of the most fascinating things because I worked in this role in 2013, right before I decided to go to grad school for dance. And that experience gave me the opportunity during grad school to work in other loss prevention roles that weren't just standing at the door and greeting, but were actually like investigating these shoplifting instances. And I won't say the store and I won't say my coworkers, but if any of you are watching this, you'll know. But we were investigating these different experiences inside the store, watching out for people, seeing what they're doing. And it all felt very sneaky, and it also felt very undercover, and sometimes it felt kind of funny. And I had a lot of comical stories of chasing people and of hopping over fences and trying to tackle people. And yeah, imagine that. Just imagine that that is my experience in one store before grad school. And then up until like 2016, 2017, working in loss prevention for 3 years, 2 or 3 years during grad school. And that was the last job that I had before I auditioned for a professional dance company, and then had my first experience working for, it was still part-time, but a more full-time professional dance company, doing what I loved and always dreamed of doing, but going from the most odd job I could think of. And there have been so many odd jobs that I've done throughout the years, at home in Illinois, living in Mississippi for college and for grad school, living in New York City, so many gigs and just funny things like nannying, things like working at bridal expos, house sitting, dog sitting on occasion. I'm trying to think what else. There have just been so many interesting jobs. Dance has always been a huge part of my work experience, and teaching dance has been something I've done since like the age of 14, assisting in classes and then teaching classes. But I found that to be one of the funniest job transitions that I experienced, going from working in loss prevention and security at a department store to going to work every day, Monday through Friday for several hours a day at a professional dance company. And I feel like it's a good reminder that it doesn't necessarily matter where you are right now. You might look back one day and see that all these different things that you've done in your life have led you to, maybe it's your dream job, or maybe it's something that you've always wanted to do, but the path to get there was really unexpected. And it's been the same way with like my decisions to go back to school and then experience dance company life. I always just thought the path was reversed, that a lot of people do the opposite, that they have their time to perform and to dance professionally, and then go on to school or teaching roles and things like that. And there's just some things that I've kind of done and have met friends that have also done kind of, I guess you would say, out of order. And it's just funny to think about, but also a great reminder that if that's you, and if you're finding yourself in a job that is something you didn't expect to be in, and maybe it's not on the path that you thought for your dream job, you never know where you might be in a month, in a week, maybe even in a day.